So let's start by removing the headlight unit from the bike. To do this, remove both the bolt on the top side of the stock headlamp with a 4mm hex key. Then we move on to the top of the right turn signal cover. Remove two hex bolts here with a 5mm hex key. Next, we will proceed to the side of the main headlamp, where you will find a single hex bolt. Remove this bolt. Once the bolt comes off, pull on the cover to release the cover from the headlamp. Remove the turn signal connector to remove the cover from the assembly. After removing the side cover, you will see a connector below that position, and you will have to remove the clips with a long nose plier, preferably with one that has a bend tip. Next, remove the headlamp from the fork, and there will be another 3 connectors below the headlamp. Remove a clip in between connector 1 and 2 with a Phillips screwdriver. Repeat the same procedure to remove the 3 clips from the plastic bracket. Next, remove the remaining connectors from the headlamp, the turn signal, the parking lamp connector, and the H4 connector. And the headlamp should just come right off. It's a good idea to reinstall the side cover for the turn signal into the main headlamp assembly for safekeeping. Next, we remove the lower headlight bracket. Here you will need a 10mm socket. First, we go ahead and remove the bracket that's holding the front brake line. Next, we remove the connector for the horn. And then we remove the left bolt first. Before proceeding to remove the right bolt, but make sure that the horn is being held together with the bracket, as the horn may fall when the bolt comes off. We will need to reuse the horn module on the headlamp assembly. Next, we're going to install the horn to the main assembly unit. First, remove the bolt that's holding the second set of bracket, the second part of the bracket from the horn. Remove the bracket and store it properly. And next, remove the rear bolt from the bottom side of the main module of the headlamp. Once the bolt is removed, place the horn, locate the horn to the center, towards the center of the bottom of the headlamp, and retighten that bolt, and the installation of the horn is done. Now we're gonna install the handlebar switch. Switch on the handlebar. So firstly, you're gonna have to remove the clutch lever, loosen the clutch lever, and push it towards the left side so that you have space to install the switch, which is shown on the screen. And take the lower piece of the switch bracket, and install it underneath, and tighten up the switch to the handlebar. Make sure that the bolts properly line up, and don't strip the threads of the bolt. This is just really very small bolts. Once you have them hand tightened, and you can progressively tighten both sides until the switch is properly installed. Next, we're gonna route the cable, the harness from the switch all the way to the front of the headlamp. Just route the wires accordingly to the stock control switch harness. Follow the path to the front headlamp area, and cable tie the wires together, and leave it on the front portion of the headlamp. Now we're going to install the main headlamp unit. Make sure that the horn is facing down, and first you can install the horn connectors. There's two wires there. Just reinstall the cables, the connectors, and start with you can reuse the bolt from the original headlamp, the original lower bracket bolts. That's a M10, it's a M6 bolt, 10 mm hex. So just hand tighten the bolts on. We are not actually gonna tighten the bolt just yet. Next we'll have to do a preliminary install of the harness, just to connect up the H11 socket to the bulb, as connecting after this section can be a little bit hard. So just unlock the bulb, connect the socket, and relock the bulb back into position, and place the cables towards the center of the headlamp. Next we're going to install the side brackets. Grab one of the side brackets, and it's going to line up to the top hole, and two holes are right behind the DRL LEDs on the main bracket, on the main headlamp unit. So line up the holes on the top. Here you can reuse back the original hex bolt, the one with a large flange, and make sure not to pinch any of the cables wires, so make sure that the plate goes in without overlapping any of the wires. And go ahead and install the two hex bolt on bottom side. Just hand tighten them in, and once everything's lined up, you can proceed to tighten the brackets up. And after this is done, just repeat on the other side. Once both the side brackets are done, we can move back to the lower triple bolts and fully tightening the bolts up with the ratchet. And after tightening the bolts, we can proceed to install the high beam controller. That's the one with the blue wire with a white socket. Reconnect these wires up, this connector up, and leave it towards the front. Now we're going to install the LED power block. This is the dimmer unit, and you have two wires here. One's with a white connector and one is a small black connector. Install the small black connector to the main unit that links down to the DRLs, all the 4 DRLs. It's a daisy chain system, and place the whole bracket down, line up all the 4 holes to the main bracket, and install the M6 hex bolt. Once that is done, you can go ahead and connect the incoming power to the power brick, which is the large connector on the power block itself. And after that, we can connect the H4 connector. That's the 3-prong connector, and original Yamaha 4-pin connector. Make sure the orientation is correct. Just install that back and tuck the wires nicely into a single line, and finally you can install the switch socket The socket for the switch has been updated, and it looks a little bit different from the ones in the video. It's a waterproof socket now, whereas the video is the old version, which is the prototype version. And that this is the relay unit. The relay unit installation has been moved down, and we'll provide a picture on the new location of the relay installation. Next, just tidy up all the cables, cable tie everything nice and tidy in the front side, and make sure that they are all nicely tucked, and there's no pinching or anything on any of the supplied harness. Next, we move to the installation of the brackets for the visor. There's two holes that's located on the power brake bracket, and just take the brackets, the visor bracket, and line them up and bolt them in. One on each side. Properly tighten up the bolts, and repeat on the other side. Now, once both the brackets are up, take the logo plate and slot it in from the top, and there's 4 holes that you have to line up. Make sure that the signal wires are on the outside, and not to pinch any wires when you're putting the cover on. The holes should line up to the visor bracket, 2 on each side, and once everything's lined up, just go ahead and tighten up the bolts. Now we can proceed to install the lower fang cover. Grab the correct cover and just bolt it right behind the DRL. There's a bracket there with 2 nut inserts, and just use your fingers to tighten them up. And once they are properly seated, then just go ahead and tighten the bolts down. Do not use excessive force, as these are plastic parts. Just enough tightening would do. don't force tighten the bolts. Then we go to the visor. Place the visor onto the bracket and line up all the 4 bolt position to the rubber bolts and tighten them down. Now we are going to install the side covers. Prior to this, you need, if you have an indicator to install, it should be done before this, and there's a hole supplied that's built into the side cover. You will need a 8mm type stock type indicator to fit. The bigger ones that are 10mm won't fit, so you will need to find those which is 8mm. So just install the signals onto the side cover. Okay, so after the signal installation, we can now proceed to install the side covers to the main assembly. Just connect the signals to the headlamp and place the cover onto its position, which will line up 2 holes, one on the bottom side of the front and one towards the upper side, side upper of the cover itself. So just line up the hole, make sure that you install the bolt by using minimum